Good morning. I'm Ruth Van Lillian, the minister of this congregation, and we'd like to welcome you to our online worship service at the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Tuscaloosa. We are a covenantal community founded on love and a common devotion to our free faith. We recognize all the earth as sacred ground, and wherever we are physically this morning, we welcome each other into this virtual space. We especially welcome those visiting with us online this morning. We're so glad that you are with us. We invite you to connect with our congregation in the comments below, or via email, or phone, or Facebook. You will find the necessary information in the order of service link found below in the video description.
Good morning. I'm Melissa Barksdale, the lay service leader for today. There's a link in our order of service in the video description below, along with our other useful information. Our annual congregational meeting is scheduled for Sunday, April 26th, following the worship service. Current circumstances dictate that this will be an online meeting using Zoom. Please check your email for the meeting documents. Also, the board will host an informational session on Sunday, April 19th to answer any questions. Our church website and Facebook page have information about all our new online activities. Also, members and friends should read all Newsnet emails to stay updated on congregational matters. The Prelude prepares us for the service. We invite you to light a chalice of your own at home. This might be a simple candle in a bowl or something more elaborate that you've made or purchased. We light this chalice as a beacon of our faith and as a reminder of our commitment to a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. We worship together, though we are at a distance, by celebrating that which is sacred to us individually and collectively.
Our welcoming words today are call and response. I invite you to respond, bring them with you after each line. Don't leave your broken heart at the door. Don't leave your anger behind. Bring them with you. Your anger has high standards, and the world needs your vision and your passion. Bring them with you. We need your loving, your courage, and your conviction. Bring them with you. We need your healing and your power to heal. Bring them with you. There is work to do, and we have all that we need to do it right here in our community. We all have so many gifts. Bring them with you.
From the winter's bond and pain,
When I am angry, will you still embrace me? When I am struggling, will you understand? Will you believe in me, stand by me willingly? Will you share some of your questions with me? I am so angry today. I know it's not very ministerial of me. Easter is supposed to be a day of celebration for us. Even for those who do not claim identity as Christian, most of us have some kind of religious background, which included a big Easter celebration. It's springtime, and the long, cold winter is over. Or in Alabama, the few brief chilly days are gone, and everything is budding, blooming, and burgeoning around us. Today should have been a great gathering here in our church building. Children would have been running around in new outfits, ready to hunt Easter eggs. Because it happens to be the second Sunday, we had planned a big community potluck. We would have all been here in the flesh, talking, laughing, sharing. We would have sung together, listened to each other's news, laughed at each other's stories. Instead, Deb Crocker and I recorded this message on Thursday, and today I am sitting at home watching the service like you, and I confess that I feel very angry about it all. When I spent the summer of 1990 working as a chaplain at Caraway Methodist Hospital in Birmingham, our director and trainer, Wayne Vickery, taught us seminary students that there are 5 basic human emotions: glad, mad, sad, hurt, and scared. Further, he taught us that behind mad was almost always one of the other difficult feelings, like sad, scared, or hurt. So when I think about how angry I am, about how much this day is not the Easter I hoped for and planned for, I am looking within to see if other feelings are lurking there in my heart. Okay, I am disappointed, which is a kind of sad feeling. I am aware of a sense of loss. Today should have been a wonderful, busy celebration of a day. It would have brought to mind Easter's past. I would have remembered fondly years ago when I had to get to my Methodist church in the dark to prepare for the sunrise service. It was a powerful, visceral experience to feel the coolness of dawn on my face at the edge of the cemetery as my most stalwart parishioners huddled in their coats, and listen to the story from the New Testament about the women walking out to anoint a corpse, only to discover an empty tomb and an impossible rumor. Even though I had given up a belief in the physical resurrection of Rabbi Jesus years before, the story always stirred hope and wonder beyond logic in my mind. I'm aware in my anger of feeling hurt, too, and a little lost. I have been physically present for almost every Easter that I have been alive on this earth. My parents dressed me in a new spring outfit, and I hunted eggs on the church lawn when I was little. I began singing in the church choir at 13, and some of the best music is sung at Easter. As an intern minister, I preached my first Easter sermon in 1992. It hurts to sit at home in yoga pants and only watch Easter and not be at church with all of you. And like all of you, I am scared behind my anger. I am scared of the virus that has made all of us have to hide in our homes. I am scared for those who work the front lines and for those who must go out for supplies. I am scared for all of you, and I am scared for myself and my family. I am frightened about how long it may be before we can gather together in the church building again. And I am scared about how different our lives may become permanently as we recover from this crisis. So there it is. I am mad today. And behind my mad, I am sad and hurt and scared. All of that feels wrong. It shouldn't be that way. But here we are. And what happened to the fifth emotion? Well, that's the easy one. That's the glad. We don't have much trouble feeling glad, though we have times like right now when gladness eludes us. Bereft of the big celebration that should have been, I look instead to small joys. My son's chuckle and elated smile when we play the "You're my favorite in the whole wide world" game. The frequent disruptive antics of our two half-grown tabby cats. The sharing of silly puns and rude jokes with my husband. The flowers blooming around our house. And the retelling of family stories and memories of good times. In a little while, I'll tell you a kind of true fairy tale, full of gladness and hope. It's a good story for Easter, a tale of small joys and of love that lasts beyond a lifetime. When I am frightened, will you reassure me? When I am lonely, will you be my friend? Will you be strong for me, comfort me tenderly? Will you share some of your stories with me? If you will show me compassion, then I can learn to love as you do. Then we can learn to love.
When we gather in loving community, we remember that we do not travel this earth alone. We share our lives as we light candles and hold each other in meditative thought and reverence. I will light a candle here in my home as you light a candle in yours, and we will observe a moment of silence while you share your joys and burdens by replying in the comments below and engage with each other in celebration and condolence. I will now light a final candle for all burdens and celebrations shared in our virtual space and those that went unspoken. May the warm light of these flames bring us peace.
Let us spend a few moments of silence as we think about all the joys and concerns that have been mentioned and have gone unspoken today. Then I will close us with a few words. We are made of the dust of distant suns, and we breathe molecules of oxygen from the dawn of the earth. We are connected with everything that lives, that has lived, that will ever live. Let us find comfort and strength this day in remembering that we are never really alone. We have each other's company on the journey, and right now, remembering that is very important. Amen. Shalom. Blessed be.
Swimming by Leo Leone. A happy school of little fish lived in the corner of the sea somewhere. They were all red. Only one of them was black as a mussel shell. He swam faster than any of his brothers and sisters. His name was Swimmy. One bad day, a tuna fish, swift, fierce, and very hungry, came darting through the waves. In one gulp, he swallowed all the little red fish. Only Swimmy escaped. He swam away into the deep, wet world. He was scared, lonely, and very sad. But the sea was full of wonderful creatures, and as he swam from marvel to marvel, Swimmy was happy again. He saw a Medusa of rainbow jelly. A lobster who walked about the water like a water moving machine. Strange fish pulled by an invisible thread. A forest of seaweeds growing from sugar candy rocks. And an eel whose tail was almost too far away to remember. And sea anemones who looked like pink palm trees swaying in the wind. Then, hidden in the dark shade of rocks and weeds, he saw a school of little fish just like his own. "Let's go swim and play and see things," he said happily. "We can't," said the little red fish. "The big fish will eat us all." "You can't just lie there," said Swimmy. "We must think of something." Swimmy thought and thought and thought and thought. Suddenly he said, "I have it. We're all going to swim all together like the biggest fish in the sea." He taught them how to swim close together, each in his own place. And when they learned to swim like one giant fish, he said, "I'll be the eye." And so they swam in cool morning water and in the midday sun and chased the big fish away. That's the end. Swimmy. by Leo Leone.
So, we're going to sing a song that we have sung before, most of us. For a few of you, it might be new. The tune is really easy. You've all sung it, which is Head, Shoulders, Knees, and Toes. So that tune you know, but we're going to sing some new words. And these words come from an old R.E. blessing, which is, we are Unitarian Universalists with minds that think and hearts that love and hands that serve. So today we're going to add and feet and wheels, because we march with our feet and some of us roll with our wheels, and we do those things when we march for justice or roll for justice. So we're going to include all that in our song. We'll sing it through twice, so you can listen to it the first time and then join us the second time if you weren't quite familiar with it. Okay? Here we go. Minds, hearts, and hands and feet and rolling wheels. Minds, hearts, and hands and feet, rolling wheels. Minds that think, hearts that love, hands that serve, and feet and wheels. Minds, hearts, and hands and feet and rolling wheels. Minds, hearts, and hands and feet and rolling wheels. Minds, hearts, and hands and feet and rolling wheels. Minds that think, hearts that love, hands that serve, and feet and wheels. Minds, hearts, and hands and feet and rolling wheels. Wonderful.
It's time for this morning's offering. Out of gratitude for all we have been given and all we have now, we share our resources because we love and trust each other, and because this church enriches our lives and empowers us to make the world better. We rely upon each other, members and friends, and we appreciate the payment of pledges and the generous donations to support the legacy, vision, and work of this church community. Contributions may be made by PayPal by using the link below in the description, or by mailing checks to UUCT. All undesignated contributions will be divided between our Split the Plate recipient organization and our congregation. Our Split the Plate partner for this month will be shown on the screen as you're listening to this. Please mark your pledge payment to UUCT in the comments field on PayPal or in the memo line on your check. If you prefer to write a check to the selected organization, please mail it directly to the address that we include in the description of this video. The offertory music will continue in this window as you open a new window to make your contributions. By the work of our hands and the generosity of our hearts, our love is made real. We thank you for these gifts.
Once upon a time, almost 100 years ago, there lived a young prince in a beautiful kingdom by the sea. He was a fair-looking young man with bright red hair and freckles and a quick smile that made people smile back whenever they met him. He was the youngest of 9 princes and princesses, and he was the brightest, most talented, kindest, smartest member of the household. His name was Everett. When he was a young child, he was injured in a hunting accident, and he lost the sight in his left eye. Curiously, having only one functioning eye seemed to give him an almost magical ability to see into people's hearts and to see the best in them. When he met people who behaved badly, he could see inside them and understand their fears, pains, losses. And often by showing them compassion, Prince Everett could inspire them to improve their behavior, to be their best selves. Prince Everett had a particular passion for music, and he learned to play the piano and then the church organ. And people would come from miles to hear the beautiful music he composed and played. One morning, while Prince Everett was walking on the beautiful, glistening white sands of the beach, he saw a girl coming toward him. He had never seen her before, and he was immediately struck by her beauty. She had wavy, rich brown hair and eyes the color of a twilight sky over the ocean. She smiled shyly and walked on past him, because back then a well-brought-up young lady did not speak to a man she had not been introduced to. Prince Everett returned home and asked everyone in the castle about the lovely young woman. No one knew who she was. He went back to the beach every day at the same time, but she was not there again. Months went by, and poor Prince Everett was so sad as he thought he might never see her again. Then one morning, months later, she was there again, smiling shyly as she passed him. And this time he could not bear to lose sight of her. He turned and followed at a respectful distance until he saw her enter a house down the beach. Then immediately he ran home to make inquiries. It turned out that the lovely young woman was from a neighboring kingdom and was at the seaside visiting relatives. Prince Everett wasted no time in finding someone to introduce him so he could finally meet and talk with her. With his magical sight, he could immediately see how good and loving she was, and she was also smart and funny, and she loved his music. Her name was Rose, and Prince Everett fell in love with her almost immediately, and they were soon married. They both liked the kingdom by the sea, but Prince Everett and Princess Rose both had a sense of adventure, and they decided to journey far away to live in a mountain kingdom. Prince Everett found a small castle on the mountainside and began playing and teaching his beautiful music. Princess Rose had a good head for numbers and mathematics, but 100 years ago, princesses were not encouraged to pursue careers of their own. She managed their household finances well, and as the years went by, she and Princess Everett enjoyed a modest prosperity. They also put other resources together and produced 3 strapping young princes of their own. Unlike some princes and princesses, Everett and Rose had no servants and did their house and garden maintenance themselves. They planted a large, successful vegetable garden each year, and they put in lovely flowers all around their little castle. They planted colorful annuals like begonias and impatiens, which bloomed quickly but always died at the first frost. That made Rose sad, and Everett searched for a flower to make her happy, a flower that wouldn't die but would sleep through the winter and return in the spring. After doing some research, he found the perfect thing. Without telling Rose, he planted some special roots one spring. They put out a few leaves, but nothing inspiring. Everett was patient, and with his magical sight, he could see that there was more in those roots. The next winter came, and it was particularly grueling, with lots of snow and wind and ice. Rose and Everett were so pleased when spring peeped out and green things began to grow again. One morning, Rose was in the house and heard Everett calling her. She walked out to the garden, following the sound of his voice until she saw him looking down at something she had never seen before. Growing up from rich green leaves were 3 of the most beautiful flowers she had ever seen. Their petals were palest pink, almost white, and each blossom was a round mass of curling, almost feathery petals, bigger than Rose's clenched fist. Everett smiled at her wondering gaze. "What are they?" she asked, a bit breathlessly. "They're called peonies, and they will bloom every year. In fact, they will bloom for 100 years, maybe more. They will still be blooming long after you and I are both gone. They are a gift we will leave for those who come after us," said Everett, his voice trembling. Rose threw her arms around him and kissed him right there in the garden, which was an unusual public display for a young woman brought up so carefully. Prince Everett and Princess Rose lived in their little mountain castle for almost 70 years together. And after both of them had died, one of their sons and his family lived there. The peonies continued to bloom every spring with lush, full blossoms. Even now, almost 100 years later, I have had word from the mountain kingdom that the peony plants are awake and their leaves are peeking up out of the ground. They will bloom in a few weeks once again, reminding everyone that no matter how hard the winter, spring will come. Hope is reborn, and the gifts of life and love continue. Amen. Shalom. Blessed be.
Please read with me the words at the bottom of your screen. As we extinguish this chalice flame, let us remember that we carry the light within ourselves, which brings healing to a broken world and hope for the days ahead.
Friends, life is challenging right now, and there's a lot that we're worried about. Let us remember we have this community. We are not alone. We may be physically apart, but we are united in spirit. So let us go from this virtual space with that sense of togetherness. The service is ended. Please join our coffee hour conversation using the link below to enter our Zoom virtual space. Let us go in peace.